Hello, and welcome to the next episode of the Seek Power Always show. We're talking about getting that inner wisdom within you where you can stand in your power with a little bit of a feminine flair. You guys are going to be so excited about our guest that we have here today, Sofiah Thom, who's the creator of the Temple Body Arts School of Sacred Sexuality and Dance. She offers intense, mentorship and certifications and online around feminine leaders being able to connect with their divine feminine power, harness in their creative potential, and live their yes. Sofiah, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Diane.
It's so wonderful to have you be part of this conversation. And I love that you have such an empowerment practice within your body and your being of who you are. Because a lot of times in our conversation, we talk about, women having the journey of being in fear and moving through that in their fierceness. So I actually love your print behind you to really stand in that throne and fierceness that you have here. We'd love to hear a little bit about your journey and how you stepped into this path.
Yes, well, it's been a journey for sure. And, I think I've been cultivating myself and my practices and, really what it is that I offer, like for the last 15 to 20 years. So my background's in dance therapy and yoga and tantra and expressive healing art. So everything connected with the body and really accessing the power that lives within us. And so it's really through actually a deep initiation that I ended up really birthing my school. And, I'd love to just share a little bit about that. It was wanting to conceive and actually have a family. And it was actually after many years of trying and just like being in this questioning of like, why isn't this happening, and not trusting. And I finally did get pregnant. And then I actually lost the pregnancy. And it was in that deep initiation where I actually almost lost my life. And it was like one of the, those rites of passage that I had to move through and really come into this place of trusting and of connecting into the wisdom that was in. And I started to create practices, working with the young eggs, if you're familiar with that. They're these crystals you can actually wear inside of you in your vagina to really harness the sexual creative power that we have as women and to connect into what it is I truly desire. And it was through this journey that I ended up really birthing my school and supporting other women through their own initiations, whatever that may be.
Right. Oh, it's so beautiful. I just love how, it's an interesting theme I've found that's happening with my guests of that they've had this life-changing event, things that have really had them look at their life, and it's become a pinnacle of how they have that as a launching pad to step into what it is that they're doing, the bigger purpose that they're here to do. And, one of the things you've talked about, like dancing with fear. Talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah. I mean, really, whatever is arising in our life, and fear is a big one that we all experience as human beings, is to really be with it rather than pushing it away, because I think fear is something that comes up and it can really stop us in our tracks. It can keep us small. It can keep us in this stuck place because it's like too scary to kind of step out of what we know. And yet to really be with fear, to recognize, okay, what am I actually afraid of? Like, what's going to happen if I step out and birth my school? And okay, maybe I'm afraid that nobody's going to show up, or whatever that is, to really be with that, dance with that. And, what's really helped me and so many of the women that I work with is to really connect in with our highest desires, like what it is we truly desire to create and to be in this world, and how we desire to move through, and to allow that desire to really help us to move through any fear. It's like to keep coming back to what we say yes to, rather than being in that kind of closed down no feeling. So yeah, I talk about living a yes, and that really is like continuing to come back to what it is that we say yes to. And you know, I don't think many of us say yes to fear. So it's like fear is that opposite of really saying yes to love. And I feel like in every moment we have an opportunity, do we show up in the face of fear or love? And it's actually quite that simple. And yet it's not necessarily easy. So
Right.
the practice of being with it.
Yeah. Well, and speaking of practices, you have several, daily practices that you use, personal practices that are, a beautiful foundation of how you live your life. I'd love for you to share some of those. And I love, particularly about how, the like reflections, right? Using things as a reflection in life circumstances. I'd love to just kind of speak into that.
Yeah. Well, definitely. I mean, I think the last like 5 years or so that I've really committed to my own practice of carving out time for myself every morning to really, be with myself and to meditate, to connect into the highest frequency of love, to connect into my highest desire, to really reflect on, what is arising. Because whatever is happening in our outer life is actually a reflection of what's happening within. And so if we can come to that recognition and really see like, okay, what is it? How am I somehow co-creating the situation? How can I respond to this from a place of centeredness, from a place of connection, rather than responding from emotion or responding from triggers or from past stories? So a lot of us as humans are just operating from these old stories, these old programs that are not necessarily really supporting us now. And so for us to really look at, I've really been, looking at, and what is it that is not serving? Like, what are these programs? And then being able to really align with a way of showing up and reflecting is like, what is aligned with my highest yes? What isn't? Pulling out my sword. So I've really cultivated a strong discernment practice and teaching women to tap into that warrior goddess of really being able to, pull out the sword and cut away that which is not serving, so that you can really live, your highest yes. So it's that constant discernment, that constant kind of looking at the mindset and how am I showing up? What are the thoughts and the beliefs that are, within me? Because whatever we are thinking and believing and whatever actions we're taking is actually like sending out a frequency, a radio wave that's then like coming back to us, this magnetic energy. So it's so important for us to really have that observation, that witness within ourselves to see how am I showing up, and how can I, cut away that which is not serving, so I can really be in my full power.
Right. I really appreciate how I love the imagery of like the cutting away and standing in your power and really stepping into that. But you also have, you have this flow to you, right? Where it's really bringing in that divine goddess within you to have this moving between both of those energies, because with both, that is really the feminine power, right? That is having both of those things within us and flowing and really supporting in that way. One of the things I know that you really support not only through yourself, but with women, about the important relationship with self. And can you speak a little bit more about that? Because as women, there's so much outpouring of supporting other people, and, can be really caught into the dynamics of the things you talked about, cutting away of, life's to-dos and all of that. What is it that, how is it you are sharing with women to cultivate that relationship with self, so they are more in alignment with their yes and their purpose and who they are, when they can feel like everything is maybe counter to that?
Yeah, beautiful question. Yeah, I think it really comes into, I'm teaching women how to be sovereign. It's really, we've spent so much time like just giving our power away. And when we're not in our power, then it means that somebody else is actually owning our power. if we're not owning our power. And
Mm.
so really looking at where are you giving away your power? Where are you not actually standing in what you believe and what you
Right.
desire? And I think that, we're coming out of thousands and thousands of years of patriarchy where we didn't have space to have a voice, to really, be in our power, to speak up, to say what we desire. And, we're here now, we're balancing all of these roles of, being the CEO or having our own company, but also being a mother, an artist, like all the different ways and all the different facets that we are as women. And it's to really come into that deep place of really sexual sovereignty, to, really come into that place of desire again, and give that to yourself. Like, we have to learn to really give to ourselves, to fill our own cup, so that we can then give from that place of fullness. Because it is the shadow of so many of us as women, is that we just overgive. And, I work with so many women who just don't know how to give to themselves, or they just never have. So it's that permission of like, yes, I deserve this. I am worthy. It is time for me to really give to myself. And so a lot of just, again, carving out time to recognize that as you carve out time to be with yourself, whether that's taking a bath, whether that's going for a walk, or reading your book, or dancing, or doing yoga, whatever that is, gardening, it's like that's going to fill you up so that you can show up more connected into your creative sensual power. Because when we are connected to that feminine, flow that you were saying, like, that we all have actually the masculine and the feminine within us, and we need them both to be in our power. And so we need that masculine principle of actually that stillness, that pure consciousness, that sword, that focus. But then we also need that expansive, receptive, open, spontaneous, sensual self. And so it is this dance of really the masculine and the feminine within us. And as the masculine principle, that is discipline. We need the discipline to create space for ourselves, to really give to ourselves, because we have not been taught how to do that. And so we have to like rewrite the way that we've done everything, and like our lineage and all that we've learned. It's like really this new time of really coming into full sovereignty in our own power.
Right. Oh, I love that so much. And, I've seen, your movement and how you've led in groups, and just how beautiful you are as a dancer and as a sovereign being. And you walk, that of which you talk about, which is so beautiful. For the woman who maybe is not as confident in her body, and that may be draining actually some of her energy, because that embodiment, when we talk about having our power and having it embodied, I think having a practice with your body, where you have movement, that is actually something that anchors your power and your strength and who you are. And that's something that I've been reflecting on lately, as far as when, like, I was with the police department, as far as anchoring, even what I wore was something that, whether it was boots or a gun belt or things that anchored me into my body, that in moving through allowed me to draw from my power. So what do you recommend for women who maybe don't have such a positive relationship with their body and want to have more expression with it, so that they can actually reclaim their power that they've either been leaking to other people? And I thought it was so powerful when you said, if you do not stand in your sovereign being of power yourself, you are giving that power to someone else. And so to reclaim that back within ourselves, what could you share with our listeners who may not be quite there yet?
Yeah, thank you. Well, actually, I do work with adornment as well. And because I really do believe, and I feel like if there's a certain stone that, like this stone is actually helps to protect, like there's certain things that you can actually put on your body that make you feel more powerful, or protect, that you're in this kind of protective space, or certain colors that make you feel more bold and more confident, or fabrics that feel sensual to the touch, that feel yummy. It's like whatever you're putting on your body can bring you into your body. So it's, you know, recognizing that we are, this body, like we have one body, like this is the vessel that we move through life. And so the more that we treat our body like a temple and love our body and adorn the body in a way that feels good, like that's a beautiful place to start. And, you know, maybe you're not that connected to your femininity right now, but maybe there's something like, oh, you could wear like a skirt that feels more fluid, or like a scarf that feels, you know, like you're connecting to that creative flow. And so really like noticing what turns you on, what turns your soul on, of like, ooh, I want to wear that. Or if you see someone else wearing something, that can be the inspiration for you as well. Yes. And when it comes to the body, I mean, it's a journey. And you know, there's so many different ways to connect, but even just as simple as, you know, placing your hands on your body when you wake up in the morning and just telling yourself that, you know, I love you, like I love you, body, and just like connecting in and breathing and just feel like this is your instrument to move through life. So how can you anchor in to your instrument and begin to really listen to the wisdom that's living within you?
Right.
Yeah.
I love the simple reminders. You know, sometimes we forget, like, you know, the adornment of the body and what's in our space and the things that actually have us react to how important it is, right? I was just looking down, I'm wearing a ring that I received the stone from my parents. And one of my dear soul sisters, Jewel, actually adorned this stone and made it a ring with the silver that she carved. And it's something that just brings me so much joy when I wear it, that it is it feels so feminine and empowering. And there's love that was built, you know, both from my parents and from her, and just all these things that can really be brought into our life that can really, you know, bring us simple joys. And sometimes I think that's what gets forgotten, is the simple joys. In fact, that's one of the things I love to ask my guests, because I think your environment is also so important as well. And so I'd love to know, what is your favorite room in your home and why?
Well, my home is very big because I have a full retreat center here. Yes. And so my favorite part, well, I have two favorite parts. My studio, which is above me, is the playground that I created, which is so beautiful, my dream studio. And but I have to say, my kind of one of my newest favorite spaces is my mermaid pool, I call it. And it's this beautiful swimming pool with these fountains that come out, and I just go out there and I meditate and I go in the water and I go under the fountain, and it brings me so much joy and helps me to reconnect to that sensual, fluid nature. So whatever is, you know, if there's overwhelming or stress or anything else going on, it's just like to remember to come back, you know. So it's either going up in the studio and dancing, or going in the pool and feeling that beautiful water to like really cleanse and wash and shift my state.
Yes. So, I love it. It sounds so beautiful. So good. Well, I know that, I mean, you've been so bold in really stepping into your dreams and doing the things that you really inspire you. Your husband, Brennan, and you have, like, you're in Costa Rica, right? This is not your birthplace. This is a place that you've moved. You've created this beautiful retreat center. You know, what led you to this location and to create all the magic you've created there?
Well, I've always been a bit of a gypsy. This is like the first place that I really felt home. And because I immigrated from England to the States when I was a teenager, and then I kept moving about. And what I discovered was that my body was my temple, was my home. And so that I could go anywhere. And I really wanted to create a sanctuary space for others to come and to connect with themselves. And I met my husband, 12 years ago. And he was already living here in Costa Rica. And he's a builder. And he was living in one shipping container and building these beautiful mansions for other people. And I moved here, and he saw my potential and was like, I'm going to build you a studio. And so we just started building. And first it was just a studio so I could do my art and I could offer classes and retreats. and then it just keeps growing. And we're actually expanding even right now to have 24 beds, and just keep like creating this beautiful sanctuary for people to come and to really connect in with their own power and to transform their lives, and to see, you know, that they can create that too. Like, so yeah, it's really been this beautiful co-creation here that's been over the past 11 years, really.
Oh, so beautiful. Well, and speaking of co-creations, you're the co-author of The Path of the Priestess book, Discover Your Divine Purpose. Could you share with our audience here about what are some of the steps they could take to step into their divine purpose?
Yeah, well, it's a really, it's a beautiful book, and it's really like 10 women that share our story, and how it really is through, you know, through kind of that dark night of the soul, through the confusion and those initiations in our lives, that we get to actually come out the other side and learn, you know, the pieces that have come through to be able to step into our divine purpose. So it's a really beautiful tapestry of seeing that each of us, you know, each of you have your own unique path. And so whatever, like, you know, challenges and initiations that you've moved through, like, those are part of the journey. And the more that you can surrender and trust and come into this deep place of wisdom within yourself, and following what really, you know, turns you on and is your highest yes, that doors will open and people will show up. And it's really about just following, really what turns you on, and allowing life to unfold, because it's constantly this beautiful unfolding and evolution. So it's that deep listening and moving through and trusting that even in the dark shadows, you know, there is the light, and that life holds both. And so the more that we can dance with both, the more that we can come through, you know, and out the other side. So
it's so beautiful. I love how, you know, we really do need to take all of it, and it really is part of that fabric of our life. And, you know, the nuances that we learn allow us to expand into that next realm of what we want to do, and that expression we have of our life. And, you know, this, as we know, is not a dress rehearsal. This is our dance. And to really step into it fully, it has to be, what is it that is for us? Like, what are the things that empower us to live the life that we want to have? And so much of that is within us. And that's one of the things I love about your work, of really unlocking that and giving yourself permission to express that and be part of that, is so powerful. And I know that our listeners are going to want to, you know, stay connected to you. I know that you have something you'd like to share with them as well.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I have 5 temple body arts practices that I'd love to share with you, which are different mudra mantras. So a mudra is, you know, a body position. It's usually with the hands, or with speaking the mantras. And so they help to anchor in and awaken different aspects of yourself, like in your daily life. So yeah, I'd love to share that with you and stay connected.
Wonderful. That'd be great. And we will have that in the show notes so that people can get the links with that. And how's it best for people to connect with you?
Yeah, you can connect with me through my website. So my website is Sofiah Thom. That's SOFIAHTHOM. So it's a little bit different spelling, .com. And yeah, you can send me a contact email through there. You know, also I have this Temple Body Sisterhood Facebook group, which is growing. There's over 2,000 women in there, and it's so beautiful what is happening, and the engagement and conversation. And every Monday, I actually just did it today, I have Magnetic Mondays, where I do a half-an-hour talk sharing temple body wisdom. And so you can go on there and connect and share. So I'd love to see you in there.
Wonderful. Oh, that'd be so great. So thank you so much for sharing just all of your deep wisdom and your path. And is there anything you'd like to share finally as we close?
Yeah, just how honored I am to be here and sharing. And, you know, it's, that now this is our time. This is our time to really step into our divine power. You know, the feminine is rising, and I'm so deeply committed to really gathering feminine leaders as well, and really guiding us through, a 9-month journey. I have a temple body arts course to really certify women to become temple body artists. So women that feel called to really birth like a new paradigm, and one that is rooted in love and guided by grace. And so, yeah, like I just am so committed to being a midwife and to, calling in the other women who are ready to really birth this new time into being. So thank you, Diane, for, saying yes as well and showing up and bringing people together and sharing in this way. So beautiful.
Thank you. Absolutely. I love what you represent in the world and who you're being. And, we need more of the feminine leaders who, really are embracing all of it, the feminine power, and really stepping into making that difference for themselves and for the world. So I so appreciate that. And, for our listeners, this is really an important rite of passage to really step into this for yourself. And, I also have my Life Reset quiz, which is also complimentary to you. You can also grab that in the show notes to go to liferesetquiz.com to really see what is working for you, really making those powerful, choices in your life and seeing, what little things can happen, because one thing can change everything. So we want to know what that is and to be able to support that. And no matter what medium you're either watching or listening on this, I would love for you to put in some of the comments, like what is your takeaway from this? What is that one thing that you're going to start utilizing in your life and making some shifts? And we would love for you to tag both Sofiah and myself to ask us any questions. We're here to support you. We're all part of a tribe and community here together. And with that, if you know that there's some, sister out there who needs to hear this message and this was meant for her, please share it, because as a community and getting our voice out there, that is how that happens, is that we share this with other people. We bring each other together. We really support each other as a community of leaders, of really supporting each other that way. So I just want to thank you again, Sofiah, for being here and sharing your gifts and wisdom. And I want to thank our audience for taking the time out of your day to be here with us and to really be part of this co-creative process that we are here together. So until we connect again, live your spa life, and we'll connect with you later. Mwah. See you.
Thank you. Ciao.